Hello, this is the Dark Horse, Johnny Moran, and this is the Three Count Podcast.
I'm in fashion, roll cold
Everybody to another great edition of the Three Count Podcast presents Now Entering, and I'm your host, Clifford Red Dog Miller, the man that leads you up that mountain called wrestling. But like every good Sherpa, which by the time that you guys have heard this, you've heard me say it numerous times, just say it with me, you are my Sherpa. That's right, I am your Sherpa. But like every good Sherpa, you gotta have someone who's been there, done that, and can do it more efficiently than you can. That's why it's never about me. It's about who's into the ring. And today, our man comes to us from TCW, HTW, Eclipse, CMB, SWO, NYCW, ICW, Camp Leapfrog, Outbreak, and PPW. He is the Dark Horse. He is the man. He is Johnny Moran.
Hey, thank you. How's it going? That was a hell of an intro.
Hey.
I appreciate that.
No doubt, man. Thank you, one, for coming on our show.
Oh, no. Thank you. Thank you for having me.
So it's funny because like I was looking through and I was like trying to find like more people to bring on our show and stuff, just because I love going out and finding more people. Because I've been in the business now for just a little over 2 years, so I like going out and finding people who are more veteran than I am and asking them for like advice and stuff. And so I happened to come across your Facebook page, added you up, and I was like, let me see if I can bring this person on and talk to him, because I was like,
Of course.
looking through your track, I was like, oh yeah, this dude has a lot of experience.
Yeah. I try not to have like this past weekend I had off, and like I really didn't know what to do with myself. I remember over like the pandemic, like when everything was locked down, I only had Camp Leapfrog and Titan, so like I would fish every weekend. So like I kind of missed fishing, but then there was a giant thunderstorm, so it's like can't be out fishing. So I got stuck in my house, and I'm just like twiddling my thumbs. I'm like trying to like think of stuff to do to be like proactive. Like I honestly don't know what to do when I have like nothing to do.
It is weird. It is like
Yeah.
totally strange that like you get those days where you're just kind of like, I know I should be at a show,
Yeah.
but I'm not booked for anything,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm just awkwardly staring at the TV. Like I could watch something on TV,
Yep. Yep.
but I really don't know what. Yeah, it's, I
Yeah, and
definitely
then you
understand.
doom scroll. You go on whatever streaming service. Like I spent a half an hour just like I added like 50 things to my list because I'm like I don't want to watch it now, but I want to watch that. I don't want to watch it now, but I want to watch that. And then like by the time I was done with it, I'm like my wish list or whatever it's called is like 50 things long now, and I'm like I don't know when I'm gonna watch any of this because I don't want to start any of it now.
It's funny because like for me, like Netflix is like starting to get to that point now where it's like, hey, we're like 98% sure you're gonna like this, but then it's
Yeah.
like 13 things long. I'm just like,
Yep.
how did you know? This is
Yeah.
my favorite movie. Like,
Yeah.
for instance, one of them that came up was Forgetting Sarah Marshall.
Oh,
And I
okay.
love that movie.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it popped on my Netflix. It was like movies you may be interested in. I was like, and the next one was Happy Gilmore. And I was like, you're tugging on the heartstrings.
You're gonna be stuck here all day.
Yeah. Yeah, I was like, I can't watch all these movies because that's not fair
Right.
for me.
Exactly.
Yo, but for our listeners and our viewers who are at home right now, who is Johnny Moran?
I'm just I'm from the suburbs. I would say I'm a country boy, but like I'm really from the suburbs. I like doing a lot of like nature stuff though, because I do live I live in Scranton, PA, so I'm kind of close to the country, but I'm kind of close to like the little city of Scranton. Um, so that's who Johnny Moran really is. The character, the Dark Horse, all comes from, like I always feel like I'm in second place and I'm always chasing that first place. And a lot of the times I feel like people doubt me because like I'm not a big aerial guy. And like when I got into the business in like 2015, that was like the big shift. It was more of the high flying action, and like my game is more grounded. So a lot of people like didn't see value in me, I would say. So like the Dark Horse came out of that. I originally started out as the man Johnny Moran, and then as you all know, Becky Lynch gobbled that up on me. So I'm like, well, for like probably like 6 to 8 months, this was probably like best 6 to 8 months though, like I really like that moniker was gone. So like I had to find myself. I had to figure out who exactly I was, and like my one friend, his name's Alex Waddy. Actually, he owns High Tension Wrestling that you spoke of for the High Tension Network. Um, he saw me, and I was like, I kept getting booked in like scrambles and stuff, and he's like, dude, you're always like hot in the beginning, and then like you are like either the guy getting pinned or the guy winning. He's like, you're literally like the dark horse in those matches, and I'm like, I can go with that. I like that dark horse thing. Like, let me read up on that dark horse thing. And then I like, I looked at the definition. I found like a song I forget who wrote it, but it really like spoke to me. So then I really just like embody that and embraced it. And as like a heel character, it's, it's really, I take it to a darker edge, and like everybody in my head, everybody doubts me. And then when like I'm more of a baby face, the fans that are with me are on my team. They're with the dark horse. They're the ones betting on the dark horse. But it comes from a place of like being doubted in the business, just because like, again, I don't really do the high flying moves. I just choose really not to. Sometimes I'll put them in the right position in the match. I just don't do them consistently.
Yeah, because I'm still pretty young, like in the
Mhm.
game, but I'm long in the tooth. We'll put it that way.
Okay.
Like so,
Yeah.
um,
Same.
but yeah, speaking of like I know a lot of people are doing like high spots and stuff like that, but just like you, like I like my game being kind of grounded and just kind of
Yeah.
like, well, I'm not really technical. I'm more of a brawler, but like the
Yeah.
smash and dash kind of type of person. But I can do flips and stuff like that. I just choose not to, because I'm like,
Right.
if I I got a one of my friends was dying because I was telling him this on the car ride home. I was like, I don't do flips because everybody does flips, and it
That's
stopped becoming impressive to me. Once I
yeah.
learned how to do it, I was like, I'm not doing it.
That, and like I just some people make it look really, really pretty, and I'm like, I can't do it as pretty as he does it. So like, why am I even gonna like give my one that's like, look, he tried to do that, Like, also, like you said, like you're gonna see something like that. Like, how many times are you gonna see a suicide dive on a show? You know what I mean? You literally see it damn near every match now. It's
Yep.
almost like a lockup at this point. Like, I'd like to not see a suicide dive in a match. That would blow my mind.
Yeah, but it is cool though. Like I will not lie, when I see something like Buddy Matthews, Buddy
Yeah,
Murphy catch someone off the suicide dive and then to a
right,
suplex, like that is cool. I'm like, I want to do that.
right,
Like
right.
that's totally on the other end. Like I'll catch you and
Yeah,
just take you over. Like I don't
yeah,
care.
yeah. No, that is a good way to stop it. And then that's different. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and that's what I like to like. As far as like my character goes, it's like it's a whole different persona. Like a lot of people are like that mercenary type that's like, wow, look at me, like I'm I'm very like in tune and this is who I am, very
Mhm.
like stoic about everything I'm doing. And my dude is like completely on the other side. He's
Yeah,
very comical, very funny,
yeah.
knowing good and well like I'm just here to whoop your ass and make fun of you while I'm doing it, and like
Ah,
kind of like Deadpool. And
okay,
so
okay.
it's been a lot of fun, like to go through and like create that, right? Because
Yeah,
I did the whole stoic thing at first, where it was like, hey, let me be like every other mercenary out there, and then it was like, I don't really like doing this, like at
yeah.
all. I just felt forced, and I was
Right,
like, let me be more like me, and we'll
right.
figure this out.
That's usually the best way to do it, though. Um, I have a couple guys that usually travel with me. One's name is Skylar Kincaid, and the other one's name is Aaron Roxas, and they're both younger in the wrestling business. I think they're both like hitting their fourth year now. So they both like they're always like super serious gimmicks and stuff like that. So like we got on a show, and I looked at both of them. I'm like, hey, this is not a serious show. I'm like, have fun tonight. Like, just go out there and do something funny. Like, fall on your ass. Like, go out there and like just enjoy it. Like, don't be super serious tonight. and like they both went out there and just like had fun. Like Skylar got tossed by his beard, like he took a beard deal, and
Yes.
like Aaron was just like playing to the crowd, like literally getting the crowd to like chant stuff. And they came back and they were like, that was so much different. And I was like, yeah, like you don't always have to be like super serious, I'm gonna murder you guy. Like there's some places that call for that, I get it, but like every now and then you got to go out there and have fun, you know?
Oh yeah. I love like when I get to hear like the crowd like cheering and laughing and
Mhm.
stuff like that and like getting behind me, like, oh, it's
Yeah.
another feeling. And then,
Oh yeah.
you know, and I was, my friends are like, I don't know if you have a serious side to
Mm.
you. And I'm like, I do
Yeah.
when I feel like it's necessary. But I was like,
Right.
at this time, like there's not a single person out there who can be like, hey,
Mm.
we don't like your humor. And
Right.
like, well, the crowd does. So I mean,
Right.
it's fun.
Yeah.
Yo, I
Exactly.
gotta ask though. It said 2015. You've been in for a while.
Mm.
Everybody that listens to the show knows this question. What's your worst bump?
Like the bump I got hurt on, or like
I don't
what
want
is?
to. Not if it's the one that you got hurt on, but maybe like a bump where you're just like, oh, and like the rest of
Oh,
you even knew it yourself was like, yeah, I don't think I'm supposed to land that way.
um,
Although
probably
we've had
that.
those stories before. We've had people like legitimately tell us about stories where they like fell over the top rope because they got tossed over and
Yeah.
just fell and hit their head and got
Ugh.
concussed. We've had those
Um,
stories.
yeah, no, I've uh the ones that I've gotten hurt on, I actually didn't even bump on. So yeah, I can't say they're from bumps. Probably like an ass bump, like you know what I mean, like a leg drop or something. That's no way, like no matter how you do it, like they're not like comfortable. They don't feel wonderful ever. Like I don't know why Hulk Hogan decided to do that as a finish. Like because every time I do it, I'm like, oh, like that's a little piece of my ass I'm not getting back.
I uh I had one where I always seem to like want to tell this story because it's always fun for me. Uh I was working on a drop kick
Mm,
and I didn't brace myself properly.
right.
And like as I came down, I hit like all chest and just
Ooh.
everything got
Oh,
eliminated from me.
oh
And my
man.
trainer was just like, he just sat like this and he was like, hmm, so what did we learn? And I was like, catch yourself.
Yeah. Yeah.
He was
Okay.
like, good, you'll do it right next time. I'm
a
like,
hundred
yo.
percent.
I had somebody tell me it was cool. We had another person tell us that uh, their instructor was purposely teaching them how to take bumps wrong so that they knew how to take it right. And he
Oh.
was like, we probably took like 20 bumps wrong and it was
Oh god.
painful every single time.
Yeah. No. Fortunately, my trainers didn't do that to me, but I've definitely taken an ass bump or two that I like really regret because like you try to be like Matt Hardy and do it off the second, and you're like, oh no, this is why he like walks like that now, you know?
Yes. I took one where I saw Akira Tozawa do that bonsai drop, and I was
Yeah.
like, "Yo, I really wanna try that."
Yeah.
And I did it the first time, and I was like, "I'm never
Yeah.
doing this
Yeah.
again."
No.
I was like, "That's the worst idea ever."
Why did I think this was a good idea?
And it's like, because like, I know he bumps more towards, like, the center of the ring,
Yep.
but, like, that wasn't something that I was taught immediately because it was something
Right.
I was just like, "Whatever, it can't be that bad." And
Right.
I did it closer to, like, the ropes. Yeah, I was
Ooh.
like yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Well, that's basically what I'm talking about. Like I was on the second and it was in training and I was just like we had like a dummy. So I was like, oh, I'm gonna be like Matt Hardy. So I even did the fingers and everything and then jumped off. And then like I remember just sitting there and going, oh God, like did I break everything in my ass? Like,
I like
yeah.
it. Hey, so after a show, everybody has like that post-match ritual kind of thing. So I want to know, like, what's your post-match meal, post-match snack that you gotta have?
Ooh, snack. I usually try to save like my like cheat meals or whatever. So it really depends on like how far away I am. If I'm in upstate New York, I try to hit it like Stewart's up. Um, Depending on what they have, like I'll either get they have really good burgers at Stewart's. So like I'll probably get a burger from there. If it's like New Jersey, I like to go to Quick Check. That really like Quick Check is like my favorite thing in the world. So like that really depends on like what's on special there that day. Because I always look for like whatever they have new or whatever, because I like trying everything from Quick Check. And then PA, like I'd probably because like it stinks. Like you get out of shows so late, like you probably hit up a Sheets, but like I've had a Sheets next to my house since I was like 16 years old. So like I've tried everything in there. So it really just depends on like what kind of mood I'm in after a show. If I like had a really bad match or something, I don't want to eat anything. I'm just like, give me a coffee and I'll drive. Like I just want to be angry and no one talk to me for like 20 minutes.
Yo, I understand that.
Yeah. And you're just going over the match in your head and you're like, why did I do this? Why did I do this? Why did he do that?
Could I have done this a little better? Like
Yeah.
what part of this like failed on my
Yeah.
part?
Exactly.
My trainer, he gets mad at me all the time because I'll just beat myself up like in a
Yeah.
car. Like I'll be driving home and be like, man, I could have done this better. Like
Yep.
recently I had a lot of people come to me and they're like, dude, we really enjoyed your match, blah 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 blah. I was like, yeah, but this one spot, man, I hit just a little too close to the ropes, and if I would have
Yeah.
just thought about spacing, they're
Yep.
like, would you shut up and just enjoy them? I'm like, no,
Yeah.
man, like this is one thing that you have to pick apart. Like I have
Yeah.
to pick the nuisance. So I understand like that. You just sit there and you just think about the whole time. You're just stewing
Yeah.
it.
And then like if especially like when people don't know the script that you like planned out in the back, like they have no idea that something got screwed up unless it's like completely obvious. But like most people don't even pick up on it. And then you're like, yeah, but we missed this and this. And I'm sitting there ripping it apart because like I missed two things that we didn't do. And but like that's just like the perfectionist in me, I think, you know.
Yeah, no, I understand a lot. Understand. Uh this is a question I love asking every person that comes on the show. So what's one of the hardest lessons that you've had to learn being in the business?
Hardest lesson. Hmm, man, I don't know right offhand. I'd probably say like like that. Like sometimes I'm just like too hard on myself that like I'll be on a car ride home like with a bunch of people and like I'll just be quiet and then everybody is like uncomfortable and so I like put my negative move off on like everybody. So like I what I do now is, even if I have a bad match, I'll like talk about everybody else's match and like not try to not like put my negative energy because like maybe I had a bad match and something got messed up. It might not even have been my fault. It could have been my opponent's fault. But like you're in a car with three other people and you just made it awkward for everybody because you're sitting in there miserable and like beating yourself up. So I usually from like because I remember there was this one car ride home, I was just miserable and everything that came out of everybody's mouth, I was just like, yeah, I get it. That's cool. And like I was just being super short with people. So yeah. And like I remember my one friend Rosh was like, dude, you like you killed that car ride. That he was like, can you like snap out of this now? And he's like, it's over. We can't go back and redo the match. It's over. And I'm like, yeah, I'm sorry. And then like I apologized to everybody in the car. And then from that day on, like I give myself like that 10 minutes after the match, like think it over, whatever like happened, even if it was a great match. Like, because sometimes you have a great match, but like someone else in the car didn't have a great match. So like, I always try to keep like the car ride home positive. Because there's some people that like they get really upset because they had a bad match, and like I don't get up to set to the point where I'm like really like bummed out and like someone could take like a deep dark turn on that. And like, especially if like they want a critique from you, and like me, I'm not like, I know how to sandwich a compliment. Like, you did this good. This is, you need to work on this, but you did this. And like, some people don't know how to do that. So like, I always call it the sandwich compliment. And I just learned that over time, because like I was with Mikey Whipwreck for like a year, and he used to like, he would be straightforward. He would just tell you like, this sucked, that sucked, this sucked. You need to work on this, do something with this. What the hell is going on here? And like, he used to tell me, he's like after he would give me a critique, he'd be like, did you want like a positive, just like, hey, and I would tell him, no, I just want the negative. Like, that's how I learn. Like, I just look for the negative. I'm like, don't tell me what I did good, just tell me the things I did bad, because if you're not bringing it up, that means it didn't stand out as like bad. um but like, some people don't like criticism like that. So like, I learned to develop, I call it the sandwich compliment. And it's where front end, you give them a couple good things they did, you put them in the middle, what they need to work on or what they did bad. And then on the back end, you give them something positive. And I feel like that's a better way to, like, especially on a car ride home. And like, you could tell someone's like a little down in the dumps. And then like, I always remind them, like, you got next week. You got matches next week. You got matches the next week after that. Um, Focus on this, like, rewatch it too. Because sometimes in your head, this was awful, this was shit, because you know the script in your head. But no one else knows that script. Watch the video back. Did it look good on film? Like, maybe it didn't hit live. Like, maybe all the stuff looked crappy live, you think. But on film, sometimes it comes out and you're like, oh, that didn't look bad at all. Like, that's very passable on this like film. So uh I would I would say, like, one of the things I learned is like to keep the negative energy like out of the car, especially if you're riding with people. Like, now when I'm alone, I don't play by that rule. I will beat myself up for however long that car ride is. But if there's people in the car, I try to keep that like happy, good energy, because like, you're stuck in a car with people, and like, nobody wants to be miserable on a 2.5 hour car ride, 3 hour car ride, whatever it is.
No, not at all.
Yeah.
I 100% agree. I have like those 4 hour, 5 hour car rides, and I'm just kind
Yep.
of like, if you don't have, and I tell people like in the car rides, I'm like, if you don't have anything like nice that you want to say right now while we're
Yeah.
going home, hey, we just listen to the music and just
Yes.
jam out, and
Yep.
we'll keep
Yep.
we'll keep it upbeat.
Now, who controls the music?
Usually, so in my car, if I'm driving, I usually leave that to the
You
passenger.
let the co-pilot go.
Yeah, I let the
Oh,
co-pilot because I want to
dangerous.
focus on the road. I just want to keep
Okay.
driving. But if my co-pilot falls asleep, then obviously it defaults to me.
Yeah. See, if I'm driving, I get control of the music. That's what I tell everybody. I'm like, I'm the one that's got to stay awake, so I get to pick the music.
The other part though that really, this one that like got kind of gets under my, I always tell my friends, I'm like, listen, if you're in the passenger seat, you have to stay awake.
Oh yeah,
Like, everybody in the
100%.
back can go to sleep. I don't really
Yep.
care.
Yep.
Everybody in the front, they gotta stay awake. Because if they're not, then
Yep.
we're gonna have problems. I'm gonna
Yes.
kick you
No.
out, put you in the back seat.
Exactly. No, I completely agree with that. Passenger does have to stay awake. He's a co-pilot for a reason.
Yeah, it's like you gotta control the music, and you over here
Yeah.
like just dozed out. I'm like, nah, I
Yep.
don't want to deal with that right now.
No.
What kind of advice would you give to like upcoming wrestlers?
Um, Upcoming wrestlers, I would just say, try and get booked as much as you can. Go to shows. Like, even if you're not booked on them, go help set up. Speak to veteran wrestlers. Always ask for opinions after your match, like, especially if someone like is valued, like, or you value someone, like, don't be afraid to go ask. Anytime there's like a name or someone that's on TV, I always, especially if I see them in the gorilla position, like, I always try to like go and say like, hey, did you catch that? Or if I know they're like standing there watching every match, I'll ask them before I go out, like, hey, if you don't mind, could you watch my match? Like, there's a lot of people that will literally sit and watch a match. Like, I can tell you right now, I watch usually the first 3 matches if I'm on the back half of the card, just to see what the crowd is like buying and like what they're into, and like if it's a move crowd or if it's like a crowd you got to play with a lot. Like, I like to know that before I go into that ring, you know?
Yeah,
So,
I feel that's super important, and that's something like I've had like numerous vets come and tell me, just
mhm.
kind of go sit in a crowd, and I I've started to kind of like realize that more and more, like how important it is to just be in the crowd and just be aware.
Oh yeah. Like, you see a lot of people, like, they'll structure this whole match, and it might be a beautiful match, like it's boom, 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 but like some of the crowd may not be into that. Like, if you watch like the first 2, 3 matches, if like you're in the second half, you could tell like what this crowd is buying and what they're not buying. And like at the end of the day, yeah, it's really cool to have like an awesome video, but like all these people paid for a ticket and you want to bring them on a journey just as much as you want to bring the guy that's sitting watching it on YouTube, you know.
No, I like that a lot, and it's crazy because I'm so heavily driven like towards character versus moves.
Yeah.
I feel like you can give I love taking crowds in and just like getting them behind like whatever
Yep.
we're trying to get accomplished. And I
Yeah.
feel like a lot of wrestlers now they're like they are really like heavy on the moves because they're just
Right.
like, yeah, I'm gonna do a flip here, and then you're
Yep.
gonna do this, I'm gonna do this, and then we're gonna do this, and I'm like, dude, but the crowd is still back at the first move where you were like doing a flip, like that's where
Yeah.
they stopped, and like it's been crazy because like one of my trainers like he's harped that to me so much that it's actually I've like started harping that on other people, but
No, I agree.
they're like, "Oh, I'm gonna do this arm wringer, and then you're gonna do a hammerlock, then we're gonna headlock it, you're gonna do a takeover, and then I'm gonna get up, and then we're gonna hit the ropes, and then drop down, then into an international spot, and then we're gonna." And I'm like, first of all, y'all talking way too fast. Is this the
Yeah.
first 30 seconds of a match? Like, I
Right.
don't. It's like
Yeah.
you guys are not. This is not a sprint. Like,
Yeah.
just enjoy the marathon that you're about to run.
Yeah. Yeah. And then like, what if the crowd isn't like, all right, so I've seen this before. Like, two people go out there and like they have this beautiful little chain piece, like all figured out, but like you're hearing crickets because it's not that type of crowd that appreciates that kind of wrestling. I mean, if you're match one, like you kind of got to either know or you don't know what's going on out there. I hate being match one. Match one is my least favorite match to be because, like, I love preparing for, like, all right, this crowd is not into moves or this crowd is super into character. Maybe, they are super into moves. Like, all right, now we're going to add more moves into this. Like, I love, like, seeing those first 3 matches is crucial to me.
Yeah, I definitely like that. Well, seeing that you've been around a lot of different locker rooms and a lot of different areas, I need one do and one don't of the locker room.
One do obviously go over and introduce yourself to everyone. I mean everyone, like sound guy, guy that just helps pick up and break down the ring. Because like one day, like I know numerous guys that like when I started out were just ring crew, and now they're wrestlers, and they respect me and come up to me before they come up to any other people because I gave them their respect when I came in. And like a lot of people don't like, not that I have a bad reputation or anything like that, but like I always try to go out of my way to like make sure that like I say, hey, how are you? Like, if I know you have a family, like, how's your family? Like, have a little conversation with each and every person that you meet. Cause like you kind of want to leave an impression so that they're like, oh, that Johnny Moran guy, he's a pretty decent dude, like that's what I would say the do's. Uh don't be the opposite of that. Don't like just big league everyone and just like go back, sit in your chair and not talk to anyone. I mean, I get it. Like you're in a new locker room, you don't know anybody. It's uncomfortable, but you kind of got to step out of that shell and just go over and introduce yourself. Like it's not comfortable for me, but I play it off like it is. And then once you start getting in a conversation with somebody a little bit, that like I'm scared, freaked out, I didn't want to shake this guy's hand goes away, you know?
Yeah. No, I can relate because like
Yeah.
that was me for like, the first couple of years. Like no, for the first year, I was just scared to talk to anybody because I was like,
Oh,
oh
I
my
know.
god, I'm in the
Me,
same locker room as this person. Like,
mhm. I'll tell you a little tiny story. My third match I ever had in my life. So we got on the show. The promotion's name is Big Time Wrestling, and they bring in a lot of names. And so I literally started out in a tag team, and it was like me and my partner, and then we've been wrestling this other tag team that we both trained with. Like this is going to be our third match. So we thought we were going to be in like an 8-man tag, and they were probably going to be on the other side paired up with whoever. So my one friend, his name's Keita Murray, he got moved into a singles match. And then my one friend Mike came over to me, Mike Mitchell. He was like, they're putting Shane in our match, and they're taking Keita out of our match. I'm like, well, wait, what's going on? And like, this is my third match, so I'm like freaking out now because like I'm literally only comfortable with these two kids that are across the ring, and like now I have like I don't some guy named Shane is teaming with me. I don't know who Shane is, so they introduced me to the promoter, and I'm like, hey, our partner Shane, where is he? And they're like, oh, he's probably in like the third locker room. So I go down the hallway. I'm like shaking people's hands as I'm going through and like saying hi. And I open the door, and it's Shane Douglas, like the franchise Shane Douglas. That's who I'm teaming with that night. It was so, I remember like being like, oh, I don't give a shit what happens to Keita now. Like, but like, I could have like freaked out. Like, you know what I mean? And like, mind you, like, this is like the first name I'm like meeting as like, all right, you're wrestling now, so you got to lose that like little kid fanboy. And like when I was a little kid and I used to play in my basement and I used to wrestle my brother, I used to call myself the franchise Johnny Moran after Shane Douglas, and I'm shaking his hand now, and I'm gonna team with the guy. So like it was like that. I always say to people like that was the day like the little kid in me died, because like I was like, all right, this is you now. Like you're a big boy now. Like this is like you have no time to be like scared Johnny Moran. Like you have to be the big boy that like is out there with Shane goddamn Douglas. You know?
No, that's awesome though. That I've met him a couple times and
Yeah.
such a nice dude too.
Oh my god, he was great. I did nothing in the match. He gave me a huge hug. And like it was the only match my dad ever saw before he passed. And like he gives me a huge hug in the ring. He's like, you know, I see great things for you in the future. And then like when we went through the back, he's like, hey guy, like he knew we were all green. And like he's like, hey guys, come on over here. And then like he just like gave us a fucking free seminar for like a good 45 minutes, and just like told us like the do's and don'ts of wrestling. And like, you know, he's all like, everybody did great tonight, like, you know, this is where your journey starts, because like he knew like, and we all told him like we only had like 4 or 5 matches, and he's like that's fine guys, that's fine. And like him being such a pro to us, like just always like that always stuck in my head. Like he could have been such a jerk. Like, what am I doing in a match with kids that have only had like 4 or 5 matches? Like, why am I in a ring with these kids? Like, somebody could hurt me. Like, wasn't like that at all. Wasn't a douchebag. Like, absolute gentleman. Like, and he just left such a good impression on me. Like, I always wanted to do that. Like, no matter where I went. Like, you know, if I was wrestling somebody that like wasn't that experienced, or if I was wrestling someone experienced, I just always wanted to give that back. Like, he was just such a good guy to us. Like I always kept that in my head, because like there have been other people that I met that I'm like, man, like I wish I never met that person. You know what I mean? Like, but like he was such a genuine guy, and like just took the time that he didn't have to take. Like he could have literally just done that match with us and peaced, but like no, he like sat there literally for like 45 minutes and just like gave us like a little mini seminar. Like it was just really cool of him.
That is cool.
Yeah.
So listen, those are all my heavy hitting questions, but we do got to get into the second best segment
Oh,
of the Three Count podcast. And you might be wondering to yourself, what's the first? It's the Red Dogs Power Rankings that you can find
oh,
every Sunday on our debate show. But
all right.
this is the Three Count podcast 10 count questions.
Mm.
And Mr. Moran, this is how it works. I'm gonna fire off 10 questions at you rapid fast. So
Oh,
whatever your answer is, that's your answer.
okay.
Bet. So we're
All
gonna put
right.
the imaginary timer on the clock.
All right.
Bing! And in the words of Mike Goldberg, here we
Oh
go.
man.
SmackDown or Raw?
Raw.
Favorite movie?
Uh, Young Guns 2.
Let's go. Shawn Michaels or Chris Jericho?
Shawn Michaels.
Favorite cartoon?
Favorite cartoon? Beetlejuice the cartoon.
Yo, let's go. I haven't heard that in a long time.
I literally have t-shirts. I can't think of the goddamn name of the clothing company that like bought the rights to them for like just like a season, and I literally bought the hoodie, sweatshirt, tank top. Like I was like, I'm getting all this shit because like that, like to me, like I love the movie. Don't get me wrong, but like as a kid, like after school, like that was what I watched.
Yeah, whenever he like fell to the ground, he had the
Mhm.
flower.
Yep.
Yeah,
Yep.
that was my show.
Yeah.
All right, PlayStation or Xbox?
PlayStation.
Favorite actor?
Ooh, Tom Hardy.
Nice. Sonic or Mario?
Sonic.
Favorite podcast?
Moran and Friends.
Let's go.
Let's go.
Nominate one person that you want to see on this podcast.
Killian McMurphy.
I love Killian.
Oh.
He has been on this show.
Oh, all right.
We've had such a ball with him.
Yeah, he's such a good dude.
All right. Last but not least, my favorite question to ask every single person that comes on this show. Favorite curse word?
Probably Jesus Christ. Everybody's gonna say that because like anytime someone like says anything wild to me, it's usually Jesus Christ is my response.
To be honest, that is the first time anybody has said that on the show.
There we go. There we go. I'm
And
happy that I made it.
somebody out there is gonna like try to fact check me and listen to every single episode. And by all means, go ahead and do so.
Don't do that. Don't
it's
stop. Listen, everyone. Make sure he's right.
Yeah,
And while you're there, write a review and
Yep.
give him a 5-star rating.
Yeah, and push that like button and
Yes.
subscribe. Do
Yes.
all that stuff. But yeah, those are all my heavy hitting questions.
Oh.
So the last thing I just need from you is to let our listeners and our viewers know where they can find you.
Well, all my social medias. On Facebook, I have a wrestling like page if you can go there because, you know, Facebook caps me out at 5,000. So we're always close to that. My like page is Johnny Moran, the wrestler. My Twitter and Instagram is Johnny Moran _. And then if you go to YouTube, you can watch all my matches at Johnny Moran, the wrestler. If you look up the basketball player, that's not me. I am not good at basketball, but that kid is. The other Johnny Moran.
Bet. Well, there you have it. He gave you all of his info, so you guys can find him on all of his social medias. Plus, he gave you his YouTube channel, and you guys know what that means. It means we got to do what we love to do on our favorite part of a wrestling match. Take it home, because this is the 3 Count Podcast presents Now Into the Ring, and like I said, I'm your host, Clifford, Red Dog Miller, the man that leads you up that mountain called wrestling. But like every good shepherd, you gotta have someone who's been there, done that, and can do it more efficiently than you can. That's why it's never about me. It's about who's into the ring. And you see him right there, the dark horse himself, Johnny Moran. So you guys know what to do. Tune in to the next episode and be there, or you just wait for that episode to end. You wait for the outro, and then you choose another episode to listen to. And fact check me that Jesus Christ is the first time it's been on this episode. Peace. What's going on, 3 Count Nation? I'm Clifford Red Dog Miller with the catchphrase. But what I really want you to do right now, go to twitter.com, right? Go over there, find us at the 3 Count _ pod. Give us a follow, give us a like, give us a comment. We want to talk to you guys. Go to IG at the 3 Count Pod. Give us a like, give us a follow, leave us a comment. We want to interact with you. Go to youtube.com, give a subscribe, turn the bell on, turn the notifications, leave a comment. We want to talk to you. Go to anchor.fm/the 3 Count Podcast, and in there, you can leave us a message, and we will talk to you. Basically, what I'm trying to tell you is that we want to talk to you. We want to have fun with you guys, and we love listening to what you guys have to say. Also, one thing I need you to do for me, the 3 Count Podcast also has merchandise. Oh! At prowrestlingtees.com/the 3 Count Pod. Please go buy our t-shirts. We love you guys, and we hope you love us too. So, show us some support, please.